Thank you for tuning in to Flannel Punk Radio. I'm your host, Corey Milton. Today's interview comes from the band Palette Knife, who are at the Sanctuary in Detroit for their 2023 Lovers Game Tour.
Yeah, I'm Alec. I do lead vocals and as well as the guitar.
I'm Aaron. I play the drums and do some backup vocals, screams, and stuff.
I'm Chris. I play bass, do some harms, do some scrams.
So if you were to introduce your music for the first time, how would you describe it?
Oh gosh, I would say anyone who's interested in that kind of sweet spot in between Midwest emo and pop punk, but who also enjoys anime or other video games.
Video games, nerdy, D&D.
I don't want to say nerd. Yeah, nerd culture feels kind of like a loaded word, but
yeah, it's weird now.
Yeah, I don't know. Niche interests, fun references. I feel like we try to include a lot of the things we're interested in and like the lyrical content.
Looking for a good time.
Yeah.
So how did everybody meet?
Let's see. Well, you guys.
I guess we'll start from the beginning.
You guys are technically the
very
beginning.
So basically, Aaron and I met in 2010 through a mutual friend who wanted to start a band, and he said he knew a drummer. So me and Aaron met, and we were in a band for about 2 years. And then Aaron moved to Columbus, and I just stayed in Dayton. That's where we originated, where Aaron and I are from. And Alec. And then
coincidentally.
Yeah, coincidentally, yeah. And then I moved to Columbus in 2018. He met Alec.
We met.
When was that?
2016?
Yeah.
Summer 2016.
Yeah, I was working at OSU at the time in the student life marketing department, and Alec was interning, and a coworker of ours was like, "Hey, you guys like emo music. You guys should talk." And we started talking.
We joked about it. I'm like, oh, okay, ha. And we just found out we liked some similar bands, and that was pretty much the end of our music discussion until later that year when we randomly decided to jam.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm gonna bring my acoustic guitar to lunch," and I was like, "I'm gonna buy a hand drum and we're gonna jam."
Djembe.
And so we jammed over lunch break, and we're like, wow, there's this chemistry here that I haven't felt in a long time. In fact, since I had been in a band with Chris. So I was like, okay, we got to do something. Mm-hmm. But it just wasn't the right time until 2018 when I moved into a space where we could actually practice. And then that's when I got my drums back out of the basement at my parents' house, and we started going.
Yeah, I came and sang Fall Out Boy backup vocals at their little brewery show. And
And
I skipped over that. Right after that.
I skipped over
that.
that.
Well, this was when I moved, when I came into the picture.
As part of the Palette Knife extended lore, Aaron and I did we were an acoustic pop punk cover band.
Yeah.
Early to 2018 at a local brewery until that RIP that brewery shut down. Mm-hmm. And then, once Aaron moved into his new space and we could use a full drum kit, that's when we kind of got the ball rolling. And that's coincidentally right when Chris moved back. Or moved to Columbus.
It was funny because I was like, I'm going to go see my friend and this redhead fella he's playing with. And literally come there without knowing what was going to happen and sang with them. And then, hey, you want to play bass? And I was like, without hesitation, I was like, yeah. And
I remember the first practice with you, because Aaron and I had probably we probably got a few jam sessions in with the drum kit before I think before you officially moved in. I remember after the first practice, I was like, that Chris guy is brings such a good charismatic energy. I just want to play music with him.
Yes. Yep. And look at us now.
That's right. Yeah.
What's your favorite tour memory so far?
There's a few that come to mind, and also my family, we have this saying that sometimes a good story is better than a good time. So an example of that would be a couple nights ago we were at was this after Chicago?
Yeah.
So after Chicago, everything's blurring together. This is our first tour, by the way, so we're kind of learning everything as we go. But after Chicago, we drove about an hour east to the hotel we had booked for the night, and we show up to the hotel, and we put in our name, and she's like, I don't have that name. Like, oh no. So it turns out we booked the hotel down the street, and we went to the wrong hotel. Luckily, it was only a 5-minute drive.
Wasn't that
and then
bad.
We got to the new hotel, and the front was they're completely redoing the front, so we had to find a side entrance. We finally got our room, and it was the wrong room, and it was 3 a.m. our time, and we were slap happy in the elevator, we just want to sleep.
And I also heard that you performed in a bowling alley.
We did.
Oh,
that was our first show.
Alley.
That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
In
Duck
Indianapolis.
pins.
Atomic Bowl.
Yeah.
Very similar vibes to Dirty Dungarees at Columbus. Shout out Dirty Dungarees.
Shout out
It's
Dirty Dungarees.
a laundry mat that's also a bar and venue.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Do you have any favorite fan moments so far?
Oh, I mean, I think we got to talk about Augie.
We have to talk about
Yeah.
Augie.
Yeah,
Yep.
Augie is a dedicated Michigan fan of ours. And since we just mentioned this is our first tour, we haven't been to Michigan, but he has been dedicated over the past couple years.
Probably
yeah.
since
He's
like
driving down
Ponderosa
to
yeah.
whatever shows he can in Ohio to see us.
Wow.
It's been wild. And the one time we played Cincinnati, we opened up for Cliff Diver and Michael Sarah Palin, and he drove all the way down from Detroit, basically, to Cincinnati, and drove back in the same night. He is so dedicated.
We stayed at his parents' place after our Madison show, and we played some disc golf the next day. It was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. And he was at the show last night in East Lansing. And
He's gonna be here tonight.
He's coming tonight,
gonna be
so
here tonight.
yeah, he's a real one.
Certified
so,
homie.
Certified
homie.
Staying at his parents' house?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nice. They made us coffee cake in the morning. It was great.
We were having van trouble, and his dad helped us with the van
Oh
trouble.
yeah, our muffler was like we started obviously we had left Ohio, and by the time we were out there we were like, that muffler is looking a lot lower than it did. So we were like, we should figure something out. So his dad got some ramps up, and we were able to put the ramp up, and we sent Chris under there,
Yep.
and he
Yep,
tied it with a chicken
just some
wire.
Play the
Chicken
role of
wire.
moral support.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, blue collar over here, baby.
So somebody hold the flashlight while his dad...
No, there was no flashlight.
No.
I had to kind of just wing it.
Yeah.
It was really just hard to keep my head up.
So you guys have talked about this before in some other interviews, but I wanted our listeners to hear about it 'cause
Yeah.
it's really cool. Tell me about the conceptual story behind New Game Plus and the overall theme of the album.
Yeah, so I don't know how I think we came up with the name New Game Plus before anything else, just because we were like, oh, that'd be kind of a funny like sophomore album. Everything's harder. Everything's like, we've kind of really honed our sound and the things we want to explore in our music in the first record. So it's like, how do we amplify that and kind of distill it? So that's where the name came from. So from there we were like, okay, well, if we're gonna really make this video game themed, how do we really dive into that? Like how can we start introducing more video game references into the lyrical writing? How can we, Aaron and I do all of the artwork for our merch and our album art. So we were trying to like figure out how to make all of each song tie back to a different boss, as if you're playing a video game as you're listening to the album.
Yeah, the concept of the overall concept narrative wise is that we've been sucked into this video game world by a rogue AI named Plus, and we have to defeat each boss to then escape. And those different bosses and stories mean different things to Alec.
They're like different like little anxieties or fears kind of personified as one of the bosses. And then Plus is there in the center on the album as kind of like the ringleader of all of these different bosses.
Plus being the snake?
The
Or
AI.
The AI.
He's the big purple guy in the
is like-
back. But the Snake King does make a
does come back.
he does come back kind of, but it's not the real
It's like a simulated snake.
Yeah,
king.
yeah, because
Like
we
decided
did cut
on.
his head off
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
the
we
first
did.
album.
Yeah.
So he's dead.
Which doesn't he? He's an example of nostalgia.
Yes.
Like that's
He's
so it's
like
like defeating
nostalgia personified,
Yeah.
which also connects back because the Snake King on the album art is his song is "Weekend at Tony's," which is a song about loving your friends, but it's also a song about being kind of stuck on some nostalgic aspects of your life.
And I heard that this album is also sort of symbolism for COVID, being stuck in lockdown.
Yeah, it's like is the other part of the story is we're kind of stuck. We're trapped inside this video game, this simulation. We're like in stasis almost, and I think that definitely kind of coincides with the period that we were writing it during, which was lockdown. I think there's definitely some parallels there. The main line that we say in the opening track, and then again repeat on FNA Sharp, is I'll stay asleep until I'm out of dreams. So it's like I'm gonna stay in this simulation until I've kind of conquered all of these things I'm dealing with, and I can emerge out a better person, I guess.
Could you guys talk a little bit more about the choice to incorporate a lot of anime and video game references in your music?
I mean, we just love that.
We just love it.
Oh, can I say that?
No, I gotta edit all the times.
Oh,
that you
I'm
do.
sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I already flubbed.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it's just like a big part of, being a creative and like an artistic person, which, I mean, I play music, but I mean, they're artistic in so many different ways. I think just incorporating things that inspire you, I think anime and video games are like one of the few things.
There's this like David Bowie quote interview thing going around. I'm not going to like try quoting it, but his gist of it is, he puts out records. No one really gives a shit. Sorry. And then, he's like, okay, I'm going to take my music and I'm going to combine the whole costume, the theatrics, combine these other passions of mine with the music to make something unique. And then once he did that, everyone like really loved his music. So I think that's kind of what we want to do. We're like, okay, we already know that we like making this style of music. How do we connect to the other parts of it to make it more unique? How do we connect our love of video games? How do we make a record that's designed to be listened to while playing your favorite video games?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we've accomplished that, I think.
Yeah, and something that also just came to mind is like the style of music that we are writing is the music that we kind of grew up with. It's our touch on it. And I when I think back to that time, that's when I was like really getting into anime and reading a lot of manga. So it's like we're kind of fusing those two things, and then now we're adding video game stuff right on top of it. So it's just one big homage to all the things that we love from our childhood. So.
One of my favorite songs off the album is "And That's a Rock Fact," and that's probably one of the ones with the most consistent references from Over the Garden Wall.
Correct.
So I wanted to know, what does that show mean to you guys, and why you chose to?
I have like the bluebird stork scissors tattoo on my arm. I just got this earlier this year with a friend of mine. That show means so much to us, which is weird because I mean that show came out when I was in college, so it's like it feels fairly recent to have garnered the cult following it has, like globally, but like in addition to me and my friend group. But I don't know what it is about that show that I think scratches a lot of, again, like the feelings of nostalgia. There's something about fall, I feel like, that strikes a weird nostalgia note for a lot of people.
Yeah, and also what I've noticed is like, and this is in hindsight, that it's kind of like he's in a simulation. He's kind of struggling to find his way out of something that he's not even quite sure why he is, but like it kind of relates in that way too.
As I was listening to the song F&A, I noticed a lyric where you said, "I want to wake up in Twilight Town."
Yeah.
And I just wrote Twilight Town and exclamation marks on my notes. Are you guys Kingdom Hearts fans?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I am. I don't know about these two.
No.
I played, I didn't finish it. I played a little bit of the first and the second, and then also one of the Game Boy games. I forget which
nice.
one.
Chain of Memories.
Yeah. I never finished them, but I'm a huge appreciator of them.
It's like, if I had to describe it, just like if you're a kid growing up in the 2000s, and when as soon as you hear "Simple and Clean" come on the TV for like the first time, the seeing the first trailer commercial for it, me and my sister were just like, we need this game. Like this trailer alone is making me feel like weird like feelings of I don't even know. But it's weird because it's like when I'm like all of like 8 years old, how am I feeling nostalgia for like
something
from a video
out.
Game that features anime characters or Square Enix characters with.
But then Nightmare Before Christmas comes on, and you're like, okay, this is a cool
game. But fantastic game franchise. And then I think the other reason I wanted to include that, include at least one Kingdom Hearts reference, especially being with the Twilight Town, is because Roxas from Twilight Town, he has this sort of emblem that is very similar to the plus emblem icon that we leverage a lot on the album art.
Very cool. I just want to ask you guys what are your favorite games.
No.
Mine's pretty easy.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Last of Us franchise, hands down.
Wait, not Ghost of Tsushima?
That's what I thought you were gonna say.
Okay.
Every time I walk past Chris's door, I hear what's his name?
Jin Sakai.
Yeah, I hear Jin Sakai beating up people.
Oh yeah. That is a close second for sure. I would say after playing, because I just finished playing this part 2 of The Last of Us, like that those two games just within themselves, they don't, nothing comes close. Like the gameplay of Ghost is great, but like the story of Last of Us is just my favorite.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say my favorite game right now and probably for a while has been Destiny 2, and I say that with a lot of shame. I know.
No, own it, baby.
I'm a Destiny addict. They got me.
As a recovered Destiny addict, I have nothing but respect for the grind.
Yeah. But besides that, I have to say Hades is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Love that game.
I think 3 games really come to mind. One being Elden Ring / the Dark Souls franchise in general, and I held off on playing them for the longest time because of like all of the memes about them being extremely difficult, and then I started playing them and I was like, these are like the best games ever. So yeah, Elden Ring, Dark Souls, big fan. Pokemon also. Any Pokemon, I'm glad to return to time after time. And I'll also throw in Hollow Knight as well.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It's just like one of the best open world Metroidvanias I've ever played.
Still waiting on that sequel.
Still waiting. Silk Song. It's never gonna happen.
Speaking of waiting on sequels, including Bloodborne, what is your favorite Souls game?
Oh no. Oh.
You know that answer.
Yeah, I know that answer for you.
Is it Elden Ring?
It's Dark Souls 3.
Oh, it's
Dark
Elden
Souls
Ring.
3.
I thought it was Elden Ring. Last time we talked about it, you said it was Elden Ring because they like took everything that they had learned from.
You're right. Yeah, Elden Ring I feel like is the objectively correct answer.
It lets you jump.
It might be somewhat tied with Bloodborne for me because Bloodborne was the first of the Souls franchise that I played. If I could replay Bloodborne with like, why don't we have that technology yet where you can like wipe your mind and like play a video game for the first time again?
That's some Black Mirror
stuff.
Have you guys had a chance to play any games while you're on tour?
I've been playing Marvel Snap pretty heavily while in the van.
Allison's been playing Breath of the Wild. So.
And I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on why are you so gosh darn relatable?
We make music by gamers for gamers.
Exactly.
I think we're relatable because, well, I think I'm relatable because I didn't really get into like being in a band until I was in my mid-20s, and I feel like I had kind of figured out myself as a person, and I can feel very confident in including my interests in my music and stuff. I don't know.
I think I'm relatable because I'm just a sweet baby angel.
You are a sweet baby angel.
So,
yeah.
I describe it. Chris is the golden retriever in the cheetah enclosure to Aaron and I's cheetah. He's the one. They do that. It's a thing. They do this where like when they have like cheetah cubs, they have like they're very skittish animals in the wild. So they have like a golden retriever puppy in the enclosure with the cheetahs that they grow up with, and like the golden retriever basically teaches the cheetah like how to like be chill around
nice.
people and like
socialize.
And that's Chris for us.
Yeah, I think in this case though, it's like not to be nice, but to be sociable. Because I'm the extrovert, they're the introvert.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, it's a nice balance.
You're lucky you got us for this long, honestly.
Extrovert,
Yeah.
extrovert Sammy.
Yes.
There is a DLC coming out for New Game Plus.
There
where you
is.
just do a bunch of alternate versions of Jelly Boy. I want to hear just talk more on that.
Jelly Boy has very quickly for us kind of turned into a cult classic of our discography. So we want to give everyone. I mean, we were also thinking about like in terms of like turnaround, being able to like put out something very quickly after the album was released because this was kind of like a fairly spur of the moment idea. So it felt like a very easy song for us to convert into a bunch of different versions. And hopefully people like all of those versions.
I noticed you guys did a cover of Ruby by Origami Angel.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to cover that song? What does that mean to you?
So there's a
That's-
little bit of a story behind that.
Yeah.
So there's there's a blog called like No Earbuds.
Yeah.
No Earbuds, and
Jamie.
they did this like annual compilation where they had bands that they had cover other bands, and then they release it just like for fun. And they had asked us to do it, so we got on there and we're like, which band should we choose? And we're gonna do.
We were between like Oso Oso and Origami Angel.
Yeah.
It was like a list of bands that No Earbuds had worked with in the past. So they
Yeah.
kind of wanted kind of like this like cross pollination of like, hey, here's a new band that's covering a band that probably is similar in genre to kind of like get some new fans and stuff. So we chose Origami Angel because people compare us to them sometimes, and we're huge fans, so we were really excited too.
Mad respect.
Especially fun. It was especially fun covering a song that's a little bit older on their discography, so we felt like we had more room to kind of put our own spin on it.
I want you guys to pick the next 2 songs I'll be playing on this show.
What?
Rob Zombie,
Oh
Dragula.
my God.
Can you play that?
Can actually, that's just, it's a great song, but also it's just funny. So you should definitely do that.
Yeah, that's
What,
one.
but Alec, what do you think?
Is it all right if I do another wild card song? I need
Sure.
to look up the name of it real quick.
I don't make the rules here.
So one of my favorite bands right now is a Japanese Midwest emo band called Ari Garnon's Friend, and I would have to put on Miracle by them. It's quite fantastic.
What advice would you give to new up-and-coming artists?
Build a community around you and your music.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's, if you don't do that, then why are you doing it?
We saw a little bit of that last night.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Shout out to Goblin Zone.
Goblin Zone,
In
Lansing.
Such a nice community of people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our show kind of fell through at the venue that we had booked it at, so they picked it up and brought it all together, and it was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
Anything else?
For me, I would say play music with other people, because I mean, for me, it took me like I said, early mid-20s before I started playing music with other people. I was like a solo artist for most of my life, and I feel like you exercise such a different musical muscle when you're playing with other people that like is totally different from like theory or like writing music by yourself. It's just like, I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's great.
And then I would say play the music that you love. Like, play the music you want to play. Don't do it for anybody else. Don't try to do it because it's popular or whatever. Make what you want to make, because that's where you're going to put your most genuine self into, and that's what's really going to click with people, and that's how you're going to find your real audience.
Yep.
So that's what I would say. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you being on the show. I really, really enjoyed Ponderosa Snake House. When
thank
New
you.
Game Plus came out, you sort of solidified yourselves as one of my top favorite bands.
Oh my God.
Wow,
man.
thank you.
Pretty much all time. So I was stoked about this interview.
Wow,
I was
thank you
stoked
so
about
much.
this show. Thank you guys so much for being on it.
Of course.
Of course. Yep.
Really appreciate that.